It's Christmas morning. You're already worth $17 million. You buy a lottery ticket as an afterthought. The kind of thing you do when you have change left over from a gas station coffee. You win $314 million. The largest single-ticket jackpot in American history at the time. You take the lump sum, $113 million after taxes. You are, by any reasonable measure, the luckiest man alive. You will spend the next decade proving that wrong. Your name is Jack Whitaker. You are 55 years old. You built a construction company from nothing, diversified pipe and supply, and turned it into a $17 million operation through work, discipline, and the kind of stubbornness that doesn't take no for an answer. You are not a desperate man. You are not a broken man. You are a self-made man who already won once. You have a wife, Jewel. You have a daughter. You have a granddaughter named Brandy, 17 years old. The one person in your life you would burn everything for. On December 25th, 2002, you stop at a gas station in Hurricane, West Virginia. You buy a Powerball ticket. The numbers come up. All of them. $314 million. The largest jackpot ever won by a single ticket in U.S. history. You are already rich. Now you are something else entirely. You take the lump sum, $113.4 million after taxes. The press conference is on Christmas Day. You are wearing a cowboy hat. You are smiling. You tell the cameras you plan to tithe 10% to Christian charities. You plan to set up a foundation. You plan to be responsible. You have a plan. The plan lasts approximately 72 hours. By New Year's, the requests start. Not from strangers, from people you know, neighbors, distant relatives, former employees, people who haven't called in years. You say yes to most of them. You say yes because you can. You say yes because $113 million feels infinite when you're holding it. Your foundation donates $14 million in the first year. Churches, scholarships, families in need across West Virginia. The generosity is real. The math, however, is also real. And the math doesn't care about generosity. You buy a new house, you buy cars, you carry cash, not credit cards, not checks. Cash. Specifically, you carry a briefcase. The briefcase contains, on any given day, between $300,000 and $500,000 in cash. You carry it everywhere. This detail will matter later. At the SEMA, you are beloved. Local hero. Lottery winner who gives back. The man who had everything and got more and still remembered where he came from. That version of Jack Whitaker has a shelf life. It is shorter than anyone expects. 3 months after the win, you walk into a gentleman's club, and we use that term as loosely as possible, with the briefcase. You leave the briefcase in your car, unlocked. Someone breaks in. The briefcase is gone. $545,000 in cash. Vanished. When police ask why you were carrying over $500,000 in cash in an unlocked vehicle outside that particular establishment, you say, "Because I can." Your financial advisor suggests this may not be the optimal cash management strategy. You do not fire your financial advisor yet. That comes later. The casino visits begin. Not occasional, not recreational. You become a known figure at the Tri-State Racetrack and Gaming Center. The staff knows your name. The pit bosses know your preferences. The casino knows things about your finances that your accountant doesn't. You lose $1 million in a single session. You consider it a slow night. 3 casinos file civil suits against you simultaneously for $1.5 million in bounced checks. Not because you don't have the money, because the money is moving faster than the checks can clear. Your wife, Jewel, watches all of this. She asks you to stop. You tell her you're fine. You are not fine. But the number in the account still has enough zeros that fine feels like a reasonable position to take. Then Brandy starts coming to the casinos with you. Your granddaughter, 17 years old at the win. Now 18. Now 19. She is the one person you said you would protect. She is sitting next to you at the tables. You buy her a car. Then another. Then another. You give her $2,100 every week in spending money. Every week. Without conditions. Without oversight. Without anyone asking what a teenager does with $2,100 a week in cash in rural West Virginia. Nobody asks. You don't ask. The answer, when it comes, will not be one you wanted. Here is the decision. Not one decision. A chain. Each link makes the next one easier to reach. You decide the briefcase is a personality, not a risk. A statement. I have so much money that losing $545,000 is an inconvenience, not a catastrophe. That decision tells everyone around you exactly what you're worth and exactly how seriously you take protecting it. You decide the casinos are entertainment. Not a problem, not a pattern. Entertainment. The $1 million sessions are the cost of a good time. The bounce checks are administrative errors. The civil suits are nuisances. None of it is a signal. You decide Brandy doesn't need structure, she needs resources. You give her everything she asks for and nothing she actually needs. The $2,100 a week becomes the baseline. She starts asking for more. You say yes. You always say yes. Because saying yes to Brandy is the one thing in this story that feels unambiguously good. You decide you don't need the people who are telling you to slow down. Your financial advisor, your attorney, Jewel. They don't understand what it's like to have this much. They're being cautious because they're afraid. You're not afraid. You have $113 million. What is there to be afraid of? You fire the financial advisor. You stop returning the attorney's calls. You tell Jewel she worries too much. The chain is complete. Every person who could have interrupted what comes next has been removed, ignored, or silenced. What comes next has no one left to stop it. Brandy disappears for the first time in 2004. She is found. She disappears again. The $2,100 a week has found a destination. The destination has a name, but we'll call it what it actually was. The thing that $2,100 a week in cash buys when there's no one asking questions. She is 19 years old. You try to intervene. You throw money at the problem. The only tool you've used consistently for 2 years. The money does not fix this particular problem. In August 2004, Brandy's boyfriend is found dead, wrapped in a tarp, behind your property. He is 17 years old. The investigation begins. 3 months later, in December 2004, 2 years to the month after the winning ticket, Brandy is found. She is 20 years old. She is dead. The cause listed on the report is consistent with what $2,100 a week in cash buys when there's no one asking questions. Your granddaughter. The one person you said you would burn everything for. You burned everything. She burned with it. Jewel files for divorce. She will say publicly, years later, "I wish we'd torn that ticket up." The house burns down. Not metaphorically, the house burns down. Arson. The cars are stolen multiple times. The foundation continues, but the money funding it is evaporating. The casinos have taken what the briefcase didn't. The lawsuits accumulate. Not just the casino suits, but criminal charges. DUI assault. A woman at a bar. A settlement. Then another. By 2007, 5 years after the most wonderful Christmas morning of your life, you are being described in court documents as a man whose assets are difficult to locate. The $113 million is not difficult to locate. It is simply gone. You give interviews. You talk about Brandy. You cry. Genuinely, visibly, without performance. The grief is real. No one who watches those interviews doubts that. You say the money destroyed your family. You say you wish you'd never won. You say you'd give it all back. The irony is that you already did. Not in one transaction, in thousands of them. $545,000 in a briefcase. $1 million at a table. $2,100 a week to a granddaughter with no guardrails. $14 million to churches and strangers, while the people closest to you were disappearing. The foundation still exists. Jack Whitaker Foundation. It has done genuine good in West Virginia, that is true. And it matters, and it changes nothing about the rest of the story. You are still alive. Jewel is gone. Your daughter is gone. Brandy has been gone since 2004. The $314 million is gone. The $17 million you had before the ticket is gone. What remains is a man in a cowboy hat who stopped at a gas station on Christmas morning and made the worst decision of his life by winning. It's Christmas morning. You're already worth $17 million. You buy a lottery ticket as an afterthought. You win $314 million. You lose your granddaughter. You lose your wife. You lose every person who loved you, not because the money took them, but because of every decision you made with it. The money was never the problem. The money never is. Subscribe. Next week, we look at the man who won $27 million with $47 in unpaid water bills and somehow spent it faster.